I was disowned by my family for following my dreams. They told me I'd never amount to anything. But when I made millions, they came crawling back, begging for a loan. The irony? They had no idea what I had truly become, or who was really behind my success. Now it was my turn to make them face the truth. I stand at the kitchen counter, stirring a cup of coffee in silence, the weight of the moment settling over me like a heavy cloud. The steam rises in thin wisps, curling around the edges of the cup, but my thoughts aren't on the warmth or the comfort the drink might offer. My mind races back to the call I received earlier. My family had officially disowned me. My phone vibrates again, but I don't need to look to know it's another message from my mother. Her words are always the same. You're making a mistake. You'll regret this. We won't support you anymore. She'd sent me that message 100 times, but today it feels final. They had drawn their line in the sand. All of this, the risks, the sacrifices, the relentless pursuit of something greater, was too much for them. They couldn't understand it, nor could they support it. I thought about this moment for years, the moment when I'd prove them wrong. But now, as I stand alone, I realize how hollow that victory feels without their approval. It wasn't supposed to be like this. I glance at the small photo on the fridge. It's a picture from my childhood, my family standing together at a barbecue, laughing as if the world was right. Back then, my decisions were never questioned. My life was mapped out for me: school, career, family, an easy, predictable path. But the minute I stepped off that path, everything changed. When I told them I was leaving my stable corporate job to pursue a business venture, they thought it was a joke. "You're throwing away everything we built for you," my father had said, his voice thick with disbelief. And my sister, she couldn't even look at me after I explained my plan. "You'll end up broke and alone," she'd spat before walking out of the room. I never doubted my decision, even when they did. But now, standing here in the quiet of my apartment, the sting of their words feels like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just about business. This was about everything I thought my family stood for: trust, love, and support. And now they were gone. I had made my choices, and they had made theirs. But in their rejection, there was a silent promise: succeed, and show them how wrong they were. But as I look at the coffee, slowly cooling in my hands, I wonder if it's enough to carry the weight of the promise I made to myself. The phone buzzes again, this time with a new email. I open it without thinking. Subject: possible investor meeting, urgent. I skim through the email, my pulse quickening with excitement. The investor, who had been on the fence for weeks, has agreed to meet me tomorrow. This could be it, the break I've been waiting for. If this goes well, it's the start of something big, the start of the success I've been working toward for the last year. But the reality still feels too distant, like a goal I can't quite reach, no matter how hard I try. I feel the weight of the world press on my shoulders again. They might have disowned me for my choices, but tomorrow I could prove I was right. Prove that stepping away from the comfort of a traditional life was the right thing to do. And as I stare at the blank screen in front of me, the flicker of doubt that had once haunted me begins to fade. I will make this work, no matter the cost. The meeting with the investor goes better than I ever imagined. I can still feel the smooth leather of the chair beneath me, the cool surface of the conference table reflecting the bright fluorescent lights overhead. The investor, a seasoned venture capitalist with sharp eyes and a keen instinct for business, listens intently as I pitch my idea. Every word that leaves my mouth feels deliberate, controlled. Years of preparation culminate in this moment, and it pays off. By the end of the meeting, he's shaking my hand, his face breaking into a smile. "I'm in," he says, his voice steady. "Let's get this moving." Walking out of the building, I feel the weight of what just happened settle in. It's real now. I have the funding I need to take my business to the next level. The future I once envisioned, a future of success and independence, seems within reach, as if I can almost touch it. In the weeks that follow, everything begins to fall into place. The venture picks up steam. I'm meeting with other investors, securing strategic partnerships, and signing contracts that secure the foundation of what will soon be a rapidly growing business. My phone buzzes constantly with good news, staff hires, marketing approvals, new opportunities. Each step forward is a small victory, but together they feel monumental. I take a moment to reflect, sitting at my desk late one night as the glow of the city lights filters in through the window. I look at the numbers on the screen in front of me, sales growing exponentially, investor confidence rising, and for the first time since I made my decision, I feel like I've won. But it's not just the money that's changing me. It's the shift in how I see the world, how I see myself. I'm no longer that young person struggling to prove I can make it. I'm someone who is making it. And as I glance at the pictures of my family on my desk, I feel a pang of something deeper, something more complicated. I don't regret my decision, not for a second, but I can't deny that a part of me still wants their approval, still wants them to see me for who I've become, not the person they turned their back on. As the business grows, I buy a new apartment, something more spacious and sleek, a reflection of the new life I'm building. It feels surreal at first, living in this space. It's everything I worked for and more. But as I stand in the corner, looking out at the skyline, I can't shake the feeling that something is still missing. One evening, as I'm closing up after a long day, my phone rings. I glance at the screen. It's an unknown number, but for some reason, I pick up. Hello? My voice is steady, though my heart races, unsure of who is calling at this hour. A familiar voice comes through the line, and I freeze. It's my mother. Amy, she begins, her voice hesitant, almost cautious. I know this is out of the blue, but we need to talk. A mix of confusion and irritation bubbles up in me. What could she possibly want after everything that's happened? But before I can respond, she continues. We we made a mistake, and I think you know that. We judged you, and we shouldn't have. We didn't see it then, but we see it now. You've proven us wrong, and we're proud of you. More than you know. I feel a rush of emotions I didn't expect. Anger, relief, frustration. The words she's saying don't make sense. They feel almost hollow, as if the past years of rejection have left their mark too deeply. She continues, unaware of the storm swirling inside me. And Amy, we need your help. Your father's business is struggling, the market's been rough, and we're at risk of losing everything. We need a loan, just a small one to get us back on track. We know you have the means now, and we're hoping you'll help us out. The words hit me like a punch in the chest. My heart races, my mind reels with confusion. My family, the people who rejected me without hesitation, are now turning to me, hoping I'll bail them out. The irony isn't lost on me. They had once told me I'd never amount to anything, and now they're asking for help. I sit down, the weight of the phone pressing heavily against my ear. My mind flashes to the moments of rejection, the cold looks, the harsh words. And now they want my help? They want my success? A deep breath escapes me as I place the phone on the counter. The silence in the room is deafening. I'm at a crossroads now, caught between the person I was and the person I've become. They've come back, asking for what they once mocked me for, a chance to share in my success. I don't know how to respond. Not yet. But something inside me knows that whatever happens next, this moment will change everything. I can feel it in my bones. The days that follow are filled with a strange sort of stillness. I move through my routine, meetings, phone calls, negotiating deals, each one a reminder of how far I've come. But now, a question lingers in the back of my mind, refusing to let go. Should I help them? I think about the conversation with my mother over and over. Her words echo in my head. We're proud of you. We didn't see it then, but we see it now. Part of me wants to laugh. The audacity of it. They rejected me when I needed them most, when I was fighting for something I believed in, and now they want to turn to me for help? It feels like an insult, a slap in the face. I spend the next few days avoiding their calls. The messages pile up, each one more desperate than the last. Please, Amy, we really need this, my father pleads in one. Don't you think you could help us out? Just this once, my sister writes in another. It's as if the years of judgment, the countless moments where they made me feel less than, never happened. The walls they built between us are now crumbling, but I'm not sure if I can just pick up the pieces and put them back together. I'm angry. I'm hurt. But beneath that anger, there's something else. Something I hadn't expected. A part of me still wants to help. Why? Because despite everything, I'm not the same person I was before. I've worked hard for this success, and part of me wonders if this is my chance to prove not just to them, but to myself, that I've grown. Maybe this is my opportunity to show them that I'm not the person they thought I was, that I can rise above all the bitterness, all the resentment, and do what's right, regardless of how they treated me. But another part of me feels like a fool for even considering it. I walk around the apartment, picking up things without really seeing them. Papers, coffee mugs, books. My mind keeps drifting back to the loan. What if they don't use the money wisely? What if they squander it, just like they did with their expectations of me? I can't help but think that if I give them anything, it'll be a reminder of how they saw me all along, a tool for their own benefit, nothing more. I try to talk to Lucas about it. He's been my rock throughout all of this. He's seen the struggles, the heartbreak, and the long nights when I doubted myself. He's watched me fight tooth and nail for everything I have now. Amy, he says softly, his voice steady as always. I know you want to help, but the question you need to ask yourself is, are you helping them or are you helping you? His words hang in the air, heavy with meaning. It's not about justifying my decision, it's about understanding the reason behind it. Is it because I want to prove to them that I've won, or is it because, deep down, I still care about them? I know the answer, and it stings. I care about them, but caring doesn't mean I have to enable them. Lucas reaches for my hand, his fingers warm against mine. You've worked hard for this, Amy. Don't let them take that away from you. Help them, sure, but not at the cost of everything you've built. I nod, taking in his words. I know he's right. The loan they're asking for isn't just money, it's validation. They want me to bail them out, to show them that I've succeeded, that I'm the one who has it all figured out. And as much as I hate to admit it, I realize that I'm not sure I can do that. Not again. But what I can do is offer something else. The idea comes to me slowly, and when it does, it feels right. I know what I have to do. I'll help them, on my terms, but it won't be a handout. It will be a challenge, a lesson. If they want to rebuild, they'll need to learn to do it themselves. It won't be easy, and I won't give them everything they want. They'll have to earn it. The thought settles in my chest with surprising clarity. I don't know if it's the right decision, but it's the one I can live with. I'm not giving them a free pass this time. The next day, I call my mother back. I can feel the tension in my chest as the phone rings. I can hear my heart pounding in my ears, each ring pulling me closer to a decision I'm not sure I'm ready to make. But the choice is mine, and I have to stand by it, no matter how much it hurts. When she picks up, there's a noticeable crack in her voice. Amy, she begins, sounding uncertain. I'm so sorry. I never should have pushed you away like that. We didn't understand your choices, and we hurt you. She pauses, and I can hear the shakiness in her breath. But we need you now. Your father's business, our savings, they're gone. We don't know what to do." I let her speak, my own emotions swirling as I listened to her apology. But I can't ignore the hollow ache inside me. The years of rejection, the silence from them when I needed them most. It all rushes back. Still, I stay calm. "Mom," I say, my voice steady but firm, "I'm not going to give you the money, but I will help." There's a long pause on the other end, and I can practically hear her processing my words, trying to understand what I'm offering. "I'll give you a chance to turn things around, but it won't be easy. I want to help you learn how to rebuild, not just hand you a solution. If you're willing to put in the work, we can do this together." She's silent for a long moment, and I feel a knot tighten in my stomach. I wonder if she's regretting her decision to call, but then she speaks again. "You, you're willing to help us?" Her voice cracks, but there's something different in it now, something genuine. "What do you need from us?" I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. "First, I need you to understand the value of hard work. No more shortcuts. If we do this, you're going to have to face the reality of where you've gone wrong. I'll help with the restructuring of the business, but you need to take responsibility for your part in this." There's a long pause before she finally responds. "Okay," she whispers. "Okay, we'll do it. We'll work for it." I feel a mix of relief and apprehension. This isn't going to be easy. There's still a lot of anger inside me, but this is my decision, and now I'm going to see it through. I drive to my parents' house the following weekend. It's strange to be here again, standing at the doorstep of the place I grew up, a place that now feels more foreign than familiar. The house is the same, but everything feels different. I knock, and my father answers, his expression guarded but sincere. He's not the same man I left behind. There's a weariness in his eyes, a sense of defeat that wasn't there before. His shoulders are slumped, his movements slower. "Come in," he says, stepping aside to let me through. The house smells the same: wood, leather, the faint scent of baking from the kitchen, but it's quieter than I remember. The hum of the television, the clinking of dishes, it's all absent. My mother is sitting at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee in front of her, staring blankly at the wall. I take a deep breath, trying to steady myself. This is it, the moment I've been preparing for. I'm about to help them, but I know it won't be easy. I'm not here to comfort them. I'm here to challenge them. "We're going to start from the ground up," I say, my voice clear and unwavering. "First, I want you to sit down with me and go over the financials. No hiding, no excuses. I want to see where you went wrong and what you can fix." My father's face tightens, but he doesn't argue. I know he's proud, and he doesn't want to admit his mistakes, but he has no choice now. We spend hours at the kitchen table, poring over spreadsheets, income reports, and the endless list of failed investments they've made. It's hard to watch. It's hard to see how much they've squandered, how careless they've been. But I don't flinch. I keep my focus on the task at hand, showing them where they went wrong and what needs to change. At one point, my father's hand trembles as he picks up a piece of paper, his face flushed with frustration. "I thought we were doing everything right," he mutters, mostly to himself. "You weren't," I say simply, "and that's okay, but now you need to learn how to do it right." There's an uncomfortable silence, and for the first time, I see my parents, not as the figures I once looked up to, but as people who made mistakes, just like anyone else. "We'll do it," my mother says, her voice soft but resolute. "We'll learn. We have to." I nod, satisfied with their response, but the work is far from over. This is just the beginning. Weeks pass, and the work continues. I'm helping my parents restructure their business, step by step, pushing them out of their comfort zones and into the unknown. It's not easy for them. There are moments of resistance, times when I see them tempted to fall back on old habits, but I stay firm. One evening, as I'm sitting in my office reviewing new business proposals, my phone buzzes. I pick it up and see a text from my mother. It's short and to the point. We met someone today. He's a potential partner. His name is Richard. He's interested in what we're doing. I raise an eyebrow. Richard. I don't recognize the name, but I'm intrigued. My parents had always been cautious about business partnerships, especially after everything that's happened. I text back, "Who is he? How serious is he?" Her reply comes quickly. "He owns a few successful companies and seems very interested. He wants to meet you." I don't reply immediately. Instead, I lean back in my chair, wondering what kind of person would show interest in a business that's barely holding itself together. But I'm curious, and I know that if this is legitimate, it could help push my parents' business back on its feet. The next day, I agree to meet Richard. We sit down at a quiet cafe, and I'm struck by how confident he is, well-dressed, sharp, and assertive. There's an air of calculated success around him, but his demeanor isn't what I expected. He's not flashy or arrogant. Instead, he listens. He asks the right questions. He's engaged, and there's a level of sincerity I haven't seen in a long time. Over coffee, we discuss the future of my parents' business. He's interested in their market, their resources, and their potential. His words are measured, and by the end of the conversation, I feel like we've made real progress. This partnership might actually work. It could be the turning point they need. I leave the cafe with a renewed sense of purpose. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the catalyst my parents need to turn everything around. But I also know that I can't just give them everything. They have to prove themselves. They have to show me they're ready to make it work. And so far, they're on the right track. The weeks stretch into months, and the transformation is slow but steady. My parents, once drowning in financial missteps and misplaced pride, begin to find their footing again. The resistance I initially faced from my father softens, replaced by a quiet determination. He stops making excuses and starts asking the right questions. My mother, who had always been more of a silent supporter, steps up, handling logistics with an attention to detail I had never seen in her before. They're learning, truly learning, not just how to rebuild their business, but how to survive without the safety net of status and comfort they once clung to. Despite the progress, old habits are hard to kill. There are moments when I catch my father hesitating, his instincts urging him to take shortcuts, to chase after quick fixes. But each time I remind him of the promises he made, to himself, to my mother, to me. "No more running," I tell him. "If you want this to work, you have to do it the right way." He listens now. He doesn't argue like he used to. Instead, he nods, shoulders squared, and does the work. It's a strange feeling, watching the people who once dictated my path now looking to me for guidance. The power dynamic has shifted, and while part of me relishes it, another part of me aches. I never wanted to see my parents in a position of desperation, but they put themselves here, and they know it. That's why they're willing to fight for what they still have left. The deal with Richard progresses faster than I expect. He's a smart businessman, and he knows potential when he sees it. The restructuring has made my parents' business leaner, more focused, and with the right push, it could actually thrive again. But Richard isn't just offering a partnership. He's offering an opportunity for ownership restructuring, one that would keep my parents involved, but shift key decision-making power to people who understand business at a higher level. It's a bitter pill for my father to swallow, but he knows it's necessary. The night before signing, he calls me into his office, the same one where, years ago, he told me I was making the biggest mistake of my life by leaving the family business. "You were right," he says. the words coming out heavier than I think he expected. About all of it. I don't say anything. I let him sit with his own admission. For years, I thought success was about control, he continues, his voice quieter. About making the right moves and making sure no one saw the struggle, but success isn't just about power, is it? No, I answer simply. It's about building something real, and that means knowing when to let go. He nods, exhaling as if releasing a weight he's carried for too long. The next morning, he signs the deal with Richard. The business isn't entirely his anymore, but for the first time in a long time, it has a future. A real one built on lessons hard learned and earned through failure. Months pass, and I see the changes more clearly. My father no longer clings to the identity of being the one in control. My mother, once content to let him handle everything, is now an active participant in their future. Their business stabilizes, and for the first time in years, they have a steady path forward. They don't need me anymore, not in the way they did before. And strangely, that's the most satisfying part. One evening, as I sit on my apartment balcony sipping a glass of wine, my phone buzzes with a notification. A new message from my sister. I hesitate before opening it. We haven't spoken much. She was never as involved in the family business as my parents were, and she struggled with her own pride as much as they did. But tonight, her message is different. I never said it before, but I should have. I was wrong. You didn't just prove us wrong, you proved yourself right. And for what it's worth, I'm proud of you. I stare at the message for a long time, reading it over and over. The words feel foreign, yet familiar, like something I had once longed to hear but never expected to. I don't know if it erases everything, if it fixes all the years of resentment, but for the first time, I don't feel like I need it to. I've already made peace with who I am. I don't need their validation anymore. I set my phone down and breathe in the crisp night air, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. My success wasn't about proving them wrong. It was about proving myself right. And in the end, that was the only thing that ever truly mattered.